Who are you at work? I mean, really. It sounds like a pretty simple question, right? But the answer has gotten incredibly complex. So today, we're going to dive into this powerful idea of identity in our professional lives and how our whole understanding of it is being reshaped, like right now. Okay, think about this for a second. Your favorite team wins the big game, and you feel this incredible rush of pride. You didn't play a single second, you weren't even in the stadium, but what do you say? You say, "We won." You feel their success like it's your own. That feeling, that gut instinct to connect who you are to a bigger group, that's called social identification. And believe it or not, that exact same force is working on us every single day, in the office, on the factory floor, or even on a Zoom call. This feeling of we, of being part of a team, a profession, or a company, is what's driving our motivation, our loyalty, and our performance in ways we're only just starting to fully get our heads around. So where did our modern take on all this come from? Well, it kicked off with this one groundbreaking theory, a theory whose own creators are now basically saying, hey, we need to talk. So let's rewind to 1989. Two researchers, Blake Ashforth and Fred McGill, they published this hugely influential paper on what they called organizational identification. Now, what's wild is the timing. This was the late 80s, right? The era of Me Incorporated, of hostile takeovers and massive layoffs. Loyalty to a company was seen as, kind of naive. And yet their paper about identifying with your company just caught fire. Now let's fast forward 35 years, and the authors themselves are looking back with a super critical eye. That's right, they've actually published a reflection on their own classic work, pointing out what they think they got wrong, or at least what they do totally differently today. It's a pretty fascinating look at how even these huge foundational ideas need to keep evolving. And they boil it down to a few major course corrections. We're going to walk through the three most critical shifts in their thinking, starting with this first one. So their first big revision is this major shift in focus. Their original work spent a ton of time on the mechanics, how people come to identify with an organization. But today, they'd argue the much more important question is why. Why do we as humans have this fundamental need to tie our sense of self to a group? And this quote just nails it. Identification isn't just another box you check on a survey, like job satisfaction. In their updated view, it is an existential process. The company's wins literally feel like your wins, and its failures, man, those feel personal. It's deep stuff. Okay, the second big revision moves from the head to the heart. See, originally, they framed identification as this purely cognitive thing, a logical, rational thought process. But looking back, they're like, wow, that was way too limiting. It's not just a thought, it's absolutely a feeling. They even point to this quote by C.V. Harkwell, which says it all, doesn't it? To really identify with a group means it engages your heart. Let's go back to that sports team. The pride you feel isn't some cold calculation. It's a powerful emotion. And the same thing is true at work. Revision number 3 is a huge one. The original paper was called Organizational Identification. So naturally, everyone zeroed in on the organization as a whole. But now, they see this was a mistake. We don't just identify with the big company logo. We have multiple targets for that feeling of we. In fact, we often identify way more strongly with the people we're in the trenches with every single day, our team. Or with our craft, being a great engineer or a dedicated nurse. These closer targets are more tangible, more visceral, and they can have a much, much bigger impact on our day-to-day lives at work. So, if we identify so strongly with our immediate group, what does that mean for leadership? Well, a recent, massive study gives us a pretty powerful answer. And when I say massive, I am not kidding. This wasn't some small survey. We're talking about a meta-analysis, a study of studies that covered nearly 33,000 people. And the researchers had one key question. What makes followers look at a leader and truly see them as one of us? The key concept they were testing is called leader group prototypicality. Okay, it's a bit of a mouthful, but the idea is actually super simple. How much does a leader represent the shared identity, the values, and the character of the group they lead? Basically, does this leader get us? Are they the walking, talking embodiment of what our team is all about? But here's where it gets really groundbreaking. The researchers found that not all forms of representing the group are equal. There's this critical difference between being an average leader and being an ideal one. So the crucial point is this. An average type leader is like a mirror. They reflect the team as it is right now, the typical member.
But an ideal type leader, they're more like a compass. They embody what the group wants to become, its aspirations, its goals, its best possible self.
And the results are crystal clear. Leaders who just represent the average of the group have a real but moderate impact on their team's effectiveness. But leaders who represent the group's ideals, their impact is significantly higher. It's not even close. Turns out, we don't just want leaders who are like us. We want leaders who are like our best selves. So what does this all mean for you? Let's bring all these ideas together for one final takeaway. The modern view of your professional identity isn't some single solid thing. You're actually a collection of identities. You identify with your immediate team, with your specific role, with the broader profession you belong to, and yeah, with the organization as a whole. Each of these different we's is shaping your experience. Understanding that our work identity is layered, that it's deeply emotional, and that it's tied to our aspirations, that changes everything. It changes how we lead and how we find meaning in what we do. So the final question is really for you. What are the different we's that make you who you are at work?